Hello and welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today to the Reality Practice Live with Liliana and Joey. Give me 1 second here to get some stuff set up. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, it's
I got to fix that while we get the show started here in just a second. Let some people tune in. Had to mute that. Okay. Now that we're going live on YouTube, on Facebook, the page, and on the group, I've got to monitor 3 different sets of chats at the same time, so I know who's chiming in. So there's a little bit of getting things figured out here right at the beginning of the show, but we'll get this officially kicked off in just one more minute. Let me get this. Welcome everybody who's already tuning in. We got 4 people on the Facebook page, it looks like. So welcome. Liliana, if you want to talk for a minute or so while I'm getting this stuff ready, feel free to chime in. Welcome everybody.
welcome, everybody. I'm so delighted to be here. As always, let me start by saying we love you and we are so happy that you are tuning in with us to learn with us and to be with us and to teach us as well, of course. And we today so excited about talking some subject that most women love. It's finding the love, the twin flame, and not just that, past lives and soulmates. Now, I don't have anything planned because these days this is what guides me. The third chakra is almost there, and the intuition is what gives me the drive these days. So I don't plan anything. So you guys don't think I'm going to YouTube watching whatever. I speak from my own experience because I love it and I have so much to share, but depends how much I can speak because I always steal the show. And I'm so happy that Joey allowed me that. Thank you, Joey. So
You got it.
I want I wanted to start it to say whatever you want to say, and just when you think you don't want to say no more, I'll take over.
No, I'm ready to rock and roll here. I got everything set up, it looks like. So we are all ready. I'll monitor the chats here. But yes, let's get started here. Welcome, everybody, and thanks for tuning in live today to the Reality Practice Live with Liliana and myself, Joey Kramer. Today's show, I think, is going to be a really good one. We're going to be talking about soulmates, past lives, and twin flames, and kind of discussing the ideas, diving into what they are, who they are, how are they explained, especially on a quantum level and spiritual level. So I'm really looking forward to the broadcast today and answering any questions that you have out there. I know Liliana's got some amazing stories. How it pertains to soulmates, just in her and I talking, and over the past couple years, and she's got stories involving soulmates, and I think twin flames, past lives. We both have some of those. I know I've got a couple to share with you guys as well. It's pretty fascinating and spot on, like freaky, like spot on, like that's crazy. So it can only make me believe that past lives, all of this stuff that we talk about, all of this stuff that most of us, I think, believe in, it's real. This stuff is real, and
Everything
we
is.
have to fully we have to fully embrace the idea that past lives are just a common part of our universe, part of our existence. Over and over and over, we've lived these lives all to learn lessons, and we keep coming back to do it. So why don't you do a little intro here, Liliana, and then we'll kind of dive into it. We can start breaking down, the difference between the 3 and start diving into the topics, so I turn it over to you for a few minutes.
Right, guys. I don't know much the difference between the three, but what I know is from my experience that I had a lot of things downloading into my resting state, basically. When I was in my resting state, a lot of things came up that I had not a clue why they came up and what they have to do with the reality that I'm living today. So that spooked me a little bit because this is a live show. It's going to be a bit awkward, but let's start with the host himself. Should I?
No problem. Yeah, I'll start off there. We got Tina Briggs, Michelle Briggs, she's tuning in today. Thanks for joining us. She says, Liliana, that you are her soulmate. We got Diana
Ah,
Fernandez always on the line every
wow.
week. We love having you. Anybody else that's out there? I know we've got quite a few viewers. Chime in, say hi on the feed so that we know you're here. We love your support. We love having you back. So each week. So let's kind of get into it. The difference, like I said, we're going to talk about soulmates. What are soulmates versus twin flames? People get those confused
Ooh.
a lot of times. And from my research, from what I've learned about, the difference between soulmates are basically your soul family. There can be many, you can have many soulmates throughout your life, throughout the universe. These are all, they kind of play into that whole idea of past lives, theory of past lives, in the sense that, before we come here, before we reincarnate, each time we've got a certain amount of soul beings, soul mates that we're connected to. They may be family, they may be friends, but they're all connected, outside of this 3D realm. And when we come back, we get the opportunity to really search out and to find each other. We're finding our community, we're finding our past friends. We're only forgetting for that short amount of time that we're here on earth, forgetting that they all exist and that we love them and that they're our family, they're our brothers, our sisters. So the idea is, maybe there's 10 of them, maybe there's 100 of them in everybody's lives. But as we come back, we start to seek out, we group, we find each other. Like attracts like, when we think of magnetism, when we think of quantum, and energy. Our energy resonates at a certain frequency, and it attracts those other soulmates that we're looking for, be it your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, girlfriend, your children, your parents. It could be friends. But I think as we start to attract and put off, once we really become aware of who and what we are, and we start to resonate at our own divine frequency. Hey, Tito, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Once we start to
Okay.
resonate at our real frequency that we're supposed to resonate at, I think it basically sends out a beacon at that point in time to all of our fellow soulmates around, and we start attracting them in the craziest, most unbelievable ways sometimes, like how Liliana and I have found each other, and we've just connected more and more. She's gone into details, with me off air on how she's looked at her past lives. She's gone in and meditated, and she's seen that you and I, the two of us, have actually been married in past lives, husband and wife. It explains a lot of our connection that we've had for the past couple of years. And,
Uh-huh.
it really sheds more light on it. And I think that's kind of the difference that between soulmates.
Uh-huh.
We'll get into twin flames as we move forward today, but let's kind of dive right now into the idea of soulmates and our past lives. And why don't you kind of take it away there, Liliana, in terms of what you had seen with us being a husband and a wife, maybe in many past lives, who knows, but you definitely
Mhm.
know, and one of them you have that strong feeling. So take it away.
Okay, for the people that are watching, there are no coincidences in this vast universe, right? And when I connected Joey, I was healing myself and I was dealing with my own emotions. I had done a video this week. If you have not watched it, go and watch it because I spoke about some desires that I had. We all think we are good people and we don't want our flaws to come out because it's embarrassing. But this is the real thing. This is the show where we talk about the real deal. So, what's happened when I was meditating a while back? I don't know how long ago I told you this, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, maybe, I don't know. But something, Joey came up on one of my realities, and we lived in a village, and we have 3 children, and we were really happily married. But this is gonna be embarrassed. We're both very sexual, active. Like he had desires, I had desires, and although we were a couple, we were like burning against each other. Then, okay. So this came very briefly on my dream, but I knew very well that that was a reason why I met Joey in this show, or not in the show, on the journey that I'm walking right now. there were some things that probably Joey had to come here to do, and along my path, obviously I met with Joey. Now, for a lot of people, they don't understand these coincidences. They think meeting people just ordinary and casual. Believe me, it's not, because we all come to do our part in this reality. And I think Joey and I, we contracted to come back and to be in each other family so he could teach some other people about his, well, he came to learn about his past things, and he came to teach new wives about his past things. The same as me. I couldn't work out so how some marriages didn't work out for me in this life. But then when these dreams came true, when these realities came through, I understood a lot of that was unseen, or maybe I didn't want to show it to people about my desires. So that's where not just Joey, but the past relationship that I had with a narcissist, a toxic relationship, was also a past life. And this is very interesting when we become to know what we do in here and how we meet people. Now, I'm not talking just about male, we're talking about female. Some other female friends came in my dreams, and I've traveled with them, and I've seen a lot of lives that we live together in some other planets or some other realities, not planet itself. And this gave me motivation to understand more what I was doing here. So, in a brief way of saying things, one of the things that struck me the most was my pain that I've been through with my marriage. Okay, I had a very solid marriage for 23 years, and it came to an end. It came to an end because I contracted this way before my existence. Okay, I came to learn with my husband. He was a good father, he was a good man. I will never say a word about him in a bad way, but the contract had to be ends. And how we know this? Just by remember who you are. When we remember we are and the fundamental role that we take on each other's lives, he had to teach me some things. I had to teach him some things. And when we learn that little aspect of us that we promised that we're going to come and fulfill, then we have to move on and teach some other people in our journey. Then is when you meet some other people that live with you. I met this guy, this narcissist, whatever, but hold on, this is a fire there. He was, in fact, I just found out, my twin flame. Wow. But we never get on. Why? Because some twin flames are not meant to be together, or they just come to a short period of time. They come to help you to face your demons and to deal and to heal. And this is what this guy did in my life. I never understood this until maybe a few months back, maybe 1, 2 months back. But now that everything comes to life, I hope some of you understand each of your family members or your boyfriends or whatever roles, because they all play a fundamental role and you just can't remember about it. Could you understand about it, Joe? Could you?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I don't, there's a question in some of my research I was doing on twin flames specifically, and it was the idea, does everybody have a twin flame out there? And I think we do. I think everybody does. But whether you're meant to meet that twin flame in this incarnation or not, it's totally, it's in the stars. We don't have control over that. And the way I see it, way I was told is, the twin flame, there's only two of them for everybody. And it's your identical frequency. It's your identical, existence on a different plane. It can be anywhere in the universe. It can be here on Earth. But the two parts are in duality. Yes. Who was that there? Somebody chimed in on there. Tina, yes, yes. The twin flames are in duality. You've got the divine masculine, you've got the divine feminine, and it's the two predominant parts of that, and they're just kind of disconnected. And I think when you bring those back together and become the whole, you're unstoppable. Or in your case, Liliana, if you came together, obviously to work out something, to learn a lesson, to kind of
Yeah.
for you to absorb maybe more of the masculine that you needed or more of the feminine even. I mean, I don't
Uh-huh.
know. where you were on it, but
I
you
did.
know, so it's the idea of, we meet our soul, our twin flame, in order to help bring out what's needed in us the most, because they're really the only one out there that can connect
Yeah.
and can harmonize at that exact frequency. And there's only you and the other one, there's never going to be another one. So it's just that perfect alignment, that divine alignment. And when you find it, it's amazing from all I've heard and all I've seen out there. Like I said, I don't know if I've found mine, if I even have one here on earth, but I do know I have a ton of soulmates. That's for sure. You
Uh-huh.
guys are all around me all the time. You're joining in, watching, we're one big family out there. So,
Yeah.
you know, what do you have many past live experiences that you can remember, Liliana? I know I've got a couple I'll share, but I'd love to hear some of yours if you've got them, because I think they're
Uh,
all, this is all about energy. This is all about frequency and learning our lessons and coming back here over and over again. So it's that remembering, and we can
uh-huh.
begin to remember and incorporate all of those past lives. Not all of, I mean, eventually all of them, but to remember one or two of them and to really
Yeah.
start processing and analyzing what those were there for, then we can start to incorporate more and to bring in more and remember more. Wouldn't you agree?
Uh-huh. I do agree, and I do remember some because one of them I was quite astonished to find out I was kind of this ocean pianist or orchestra or whatever, that I consider myself to be the Mozart. Okay, now you're gonna find this very funny, but it's no coincidence that I remember to be Mozart in one of my past lives because every description on a dream, the way the dress, the dress code, the musicians in my family, there's no coincidence. No coincidence. My father, my brothers, they all play instruments. They all into music. And in this life, I am the only one who's not have an interest in music for some random reason. I know who I was in that particular time, and whether I was Mozart or not, it came to me as if I was. Another past life that I truly remember was again very sexual. Edema. That was the Egyptian famous. How do you call it? Do you remember I spoke to you about this Egyptian goddess? What is her name?
I do. I don't remember the goddess's
Uh,
name, but
I'm not Isis. The other one. Hey, if anybody out there, help me. But anyway, she was into men in Egyptian time. She was very wicked. She persuaded every single person to bow to her because she was very attractive. I will come with a name because I did not prepare the lesson, but I remember very well to see myself as that, and I associate myself with this. That's why in one of my dreams I was asked to go and research about the Egyptian history, but I'm not interested. It's too complicated, and I just live a simpler life. So those are the two I remember to be. Um, so that one was very sexual. She used to like go with a lot of men in those Roman times, and I'm like, wow. Now this is very uncomfortable for us to talk live because some past lives are really excited. Oh, some people being a millionaire, some people, and my past lives are all to do with music, sexuality. you
you're
know.
you're repressing your true nature. It sounds like your true divine feminine and your sexuality. You've been repressed. You need to let it fly. I think that's what it's
Yeah.
telling you, right?
Yeah, because I was being very dominant in my relationships on Earth. I was the one in control. I was the one I want. I get it. I have it. I know. And I was being very dominant in the bedroom and things like that as well. And I don't think that's very feminine. That is not. I've got a lot of masculine energy on me. Some parts of my body shows are very masculine. Maybe you don't see it because I look slim and that, but I'm really solid. I've got a shake of a bull. But I'm very small and slim. But whoever's out there, please excuse us. This is a very awkward subject, but it's wonderful that we can
There,
talk about this
there are
today.
no awkward subjects among friends and family, and that's what we all are, friends and family here. So we got Steve tuning in today. Thank you, Steve.
Thank
Steve,
you.
she was talking about Egyptian goddess. Not those are Aphrodite, Athena. I think those are all Greek, aren't they? Greek or Roman goddesses. But
Uh,
let's see.
she
We do
she was
have
very
a
famous.
question from Diana Fernandez asks, are twin flames and soulmates the same thing? I always got them confused. So
Never
yeah,
mind.
let's see here. So Diana, no, twin flames and soulmates are not the same thing. Soulmates, we can have many of them in a lifetime. They're what are, I talked about it right at the beginning. They're what are called our soul family. You know, you can have one, you can have two, but you can also have many of them. I believe the soulmates are the ones that we contracted and made agreements with, you know, before we came back down and incarnated here. Those are our family, our friends in past life, in different dimensions. Not this third dimensional plane, but when we get up into the angelic realms, when we get up into the 5D and we start to, it's revealed to us who we truly are. It's like we just wake up from a dream one day and we remember all of our family and friends that exist in that realm of existence. And I think that's what soulmates really are. And it's us finding one another, resonating at that frequency. Now, the twin flame, it's basically the same soul essence. The twin flame is you in a sense. It's just that duality of the divine feminine, the divine masculine. There's a separation there. While we're still one with everybody in a sense, because we're all part of that God energy, you know, at the same time, soul flames or soulmates are still individual souls that are out there, where the twin flame is you. It is your identical energetic match in the universe, and it's your other half of that duality. Uh, it's your divine feminine and your divine masculine, and they're separated. They need to come back to one, I think. So basically, you know, when you're in search of your twin flame, you're trying to find that side of you possibly that you're trying to remember. You know, maybe we all have a twin flame because we all are a part, a half masculine, a half feminine. So perhaps we all have that twin flame. We just, certain people uh, are on the path of finding and discovering and remembering that aspect of them, perhaps, whereas other people don't find them. Maybe they don't need that lesson. Maybe they've progressed past that lesson. So the need for that twin flame isn't as strong as it is for others. You know, there's no right or wrong here, but I think the soul mate aspect of it, they're everywhere. They're all of us that are resonating at the same frequency, all of us on this same mission, on this same path, united for a common cause, whatever that was that we agreed upon before coming back here. Would you agree with all of that, Liliana? Or what more do you have to share on it?
I don't know much. I don't have much knowledge about that. One of the good people you can all follow online is Miriam. She's really good on the twin flame. She's just like, I never was much interested on this subject. I tell you why, because I never had this desire to search for that one. Because I think in a way I always been very complete. So what I have to say about that is when life teaches what we have contracted to do, we just move on from one to another. Maybe, I don't know, some people don't even move anywhere, they just stay with the same partner forever. It doesn't mean necessarily that that partner is going to be the twin flame, because maybe sometimes we are married with somebody, although we get on, there is a contract that we have to do in there with this agreement on a marriage on this earth. But there is something missing. That's why couples argue so much, and that's why couples do so much against each other all the time, because they're not the one. When you are the one in union, everything just flows. But saying that, I met a twin flame that is not supposed to be with me. He came to bring all my flaws to surface, and I've done the same, okay, with the guy. So basically, I understood the twin flames because I've done a bit of study on this, and it's just not the only twin flame I have. Apparently, there's another one out there. I don't know if I'm going to meet this twin flame, but I've been told I was going to meet somebody that's been on many lives with me, and happens when I manifested something on my head 3 years ago. Little I know that it's just going to come to light. It's happening right now. Whether it's going to be a twin flame, whether it's going to be serious, or it's going to be just temporary, I don't know. But what I know is that the the soulmates, there can be so many. As I said, know I have a past life with Joey. I don't know anything than that because it came to my reality. But is he my soulmate as well? Is he? Maybe he is because we agree on this journey. That's what we do in this podcast. Maybe we don't remember on this journey that we were going to be coming to do this together. But it's no coincidence that people meet and they become soulmates because the tribe gets reunited on here. And then you have this feeling that you know this person for so long because when you click with somebody instantly, you instantly know that I know this person from somewhere. And make no mistake, when you think of that, that is true. You know this person from somewhere. You just can't remember from where, but because energy can't lie, when you meet something and you think, I know that I have met this person, even though it looks strange to you, that is your higher self telling you, yes, you're happy with this person. You just don't remember because we've got the veil, right? We can't remember everything. But if that person agrees with you and your intuition says, like, I know this person, 100% times that you have known this person correctly in other past life. Make no mistake. And that's why you resonate so much. And that's why you have your best friend that you say, you know, I feel like I have been with you for so many times, so many years. We just get on so well. We gel so well. It's because they are all your soulmates, like on the other places that you've been and you just can't remember. But the energy is the only thing that tells you the truth, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Richard said, welcome, Richard. Glad to have you on the show today. He said, having someone is important as we aren't meant to be alone as divine creators and God and the universe. It did not design us as loners. And absolutely right. I
No,
mean, I think it
no,
comes down to the idea that we're all connected. We're all one. We're all of the same energy. You know, it's this is the mission we're here to learn is that exact fact. The idea that we're not alone. We were never alone. There is no idea or concept of being alone. It just cannot happen because we're all connected in one manner or another. Now, are certain other people connected more than others? Absolutely. I like to believe in thinking of all of the different species, the races of alien life that's out there that we
oh,
know is out there. We haven't had the proof yet, but it's coming, and as we start to learn of our true origins in the solar system, in the universe, we start to realize that we have so many civilizations and that we each come from a different portion of the universe. Maybe you're Syrian, maybe you're Lyran, maybe you're or Octurian or Palladian
correct.
or whoever you might be. Maybe you're from the Orion group. There's no wrong place to be, to be from. But I think our soulmates are kind of that group. Like if we all, let's say 100 of us prior to coming here 15 past lives ago, we've been doing this for 15, 20 times,
Okay,
let's say, over
okay.
thousands and thousands of years. But our
Yeah,
mission was one all that way back when we all agreed and said, okay, let's go back and learn this lesson. Let's go back and fix this, see if we can manipulate and create the universe that we desire. Let's go back and work together. And as we all come back, now we're finding one another in our soulmates. And then the idea is, we all work together as soulmates, as a group of Arcturians or a group of Palladians, whoever you are, wherever
nice.
you come from. And we're all working together to affect the change that we came here to see, that we came here to create all those thousands of years ago. And at the same time, we jump back to that idea of a twin flame. The twin flame, is just you in a different realm, right? You're the same exact energy. And I think that they're trying to teach us, the twin flames here to teach us that part that we're missing or that part that
Okay.
we need to learn
Oh,
about
yeah,
ourselves, of that duality of the two.
Absolutely.
Until we
Yeah.
can live with that perfect harmony of masculine and feminine and work together, we're always going to be searching. We're always going to need that twin
Something
flame. We
completely.
have to bring them
Yeah.
in so that we can harmonize, become one, and then grow and then move from there. So, do they
Yeah.
come and go out of our lives? Possibly. I don't have all the answers, and everything I talk about is speculation, and what I believe. No proof to any
I
of it. If it resonates, great.
it's true. I want to share something that I just came to mind. That beautiful sexual lady was Cleopatra. I told you about that. You
Oh,
remember?
Yes, I do remember now.
Ah,
Cleopatra. That's right. That's right. It
Cleopatra.
wasn't an Egyptian goddess like ancient goddess. It was an empress. Cleopatra.
Yeah,
You
she
got
was. She was kind of a woman, right? She deceived all all the men, just like sexually. She was the best, basically. So I remember that very well. There are something else that came to my one of my realms. Now, a lot of people have seen. I'm not signed myself as Leah from Lyra in everything, but I do remember this came to my one of my maybe dreams, realms, astral projections when I was with Jerry Sargent when I traveled to Lyra. I remember to be on this planet where there was no technology. No wonder why me, I am no technical person. This is one of the things I remember very well in my vivid dreams, and I'm going to describe exactly how I was if you want to know. Okay, this is one real experience that happened to me. I was this, do you know this film? Avatar, right?
Mhm.
These people's they have colors, right? I was green, and I have these horns, and I have a human body, right? Um, it's just like very weird face, but a proper woman body, beautiful, perfect body, but with a strange face with a green color and horns. And I was on this planet, which I described Lyra, and there was no technology there. There was no technology there. And I was jumping from, it's like, do you know this little bit of turf? And it was little patterns of turf surfacing. I can't even describe how it was. Like I was jumping from one a place to the other, and I could just jump from one, and it was like floating. Okay, almost like it was like a turf, like the grass turf, but it was like every time I put my feet on it, it was floating. And it was like a little patch. You know the ponds? This is how I can describe it really well for you to know that I remember this very well, vivid. Do you know the ponds, right? The ponds have these little things that the frogs jump from one place to the other. Those little leaves or whatever in the ponds. Are you with me, Joey?
Lily pads.
I don't know the name. There you go. So in Lyra was this place. It was like a pond, but with earth, and every little how do you call it? Little well,
Lily pad. Yeah, lily
so
pad.
you just so they were floating about, and I was just jumping from one to the other, floating. This is how can I remember, and everybody was like color, not just this skin color,
Hmm.
and we have horns like devilish but beautiful, not devilish. Okay, this is how I remember. All right, so one of them, and another one, which is not a past life, it was more than a memory, maybe. It was the deities, the grays, the tall grays. I've been on there, holding somebody's hands, and I seen all the planets. And I shared this on my awakening because I was sharing all my dreams on Reality Revolution. So I have been with you call the tall grays, and I could see all the planets around us, and everybody was like, jaw dropping. I was like, normal.
Been there, seen that before.
Yeah. So there is no coincidence that I come here and have people say, "Oh, how do you know you're Lyra, Leah from Lyra?" Because Leah was the name that was given in this place, and there was no technology. Everything was like very hard labor. We had to work hard for what we had, you know. So that was one very vivid past life that I remember very well.
That's
So
awesome. How amazing, and I think
it
that's
is,
really cool. And the idea that
yeah,
I think we all have so many past lives because we've been around since eternity. You know, there was no beginning, there was no end. I mean, it's us. We're here forever, right? And we've been learning these lessons. We've been going back, and I think that we've all experienced lifetimes in so many different planets, in galaxies,
Uh-huh.
in
Uh-huh.
dimensions, and we're just jumping from one to the next to learn this aspect of life, to learn this aspect of creation, I should call it. And it's just it's one more level, it's one more phase of this game of creation in order to get back to that wholeness, that oneness with God, to come back to the source where we now are privileged and we're able to create again, just as God does.
Oh,
And we're doing it, we're jumping from just planet to planet, lifetime to
yeah.
lifetime, thousands of years, millions of years in the making here, you
Can
know.
I share another one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go for it.
Oh my God, I shared this to a relative evolution, I think about a year and a half ago. I had this dream as well. That was the past life, and there was reality. So to you guys that you don't know who you've been, honestly, you just meditate before you go to bed, and you just invite your other lives into your rest time, and eventually they will come to you. I was in Lemuria as well. Now, how do I know this? Because I hear and I see people talking about Lemuria a lot, which is come from Atlantics and all that. But nobody knows. Nobody knows how it looks like. Right? There was ships. Right? There was these ships going through the oceans, and I shared this on Brian Scott. I did. If you go back to Brian's Lily's post, I was this massive fish. I can't remember the name because I've asked the name in the Reality Revolution that time, and they give me the name of the fish. And I have a bit of blood, okay, a bit of blood in the water, and the waters was sound uh, um, commanded. So somebody, this sound who was commanding the waters asked me to get out of the water because I have a little bit of bleeding on my chest. So I had to come out of the water, but there was nobody to ask me. It was like the sound, which was a control base basically somewhere in the waters, asked me to come out. Now, this is very interesting because when I come out of the waters, I encounter myself in a ship. I didn't put a whole dream back then. I just wanted to know the name of the fish at the time, and I don't want to scare people because remember I was having my spiritual awakening. It was very scary for me, everything I was going through. So I found myself in this ship, and everything around was like a mushroom type of thing, with neon lights, right? And everything in the water was like stone. No wonder everything is buried under the sea and nobody knows. So everything was stone, and those trees, the trees, yes, they were in the water, but they were like sculptured. So I remember very well to be what people must say is Lemuria. Where was it? No idea. No idea. But I was this fish in there, okay, as a past life. Some people are mermaids. Maybe I was a mermaid, but in the dream, I could come as a fish. And I don't know the name of the fish. I had to go back to the Reality Revolution to find my dream. If you just type my name in there, you can see all my dreams that I used to share there. Because I'm not lying. This was my spiritual awakening. I was terrified. Who am I? What I'm doing here? So from a fish to a woman, and from an alien, whatever, and from this person with his horns and green face, I was like, I've done pretty well remembering so thank you very much.
That's amazing. So you out not only have been an alien and been a human in past lives, you've actually remembered potentially going back and being a fish. That's amazing, you know. And by the way,
Uh-huh.
Lemuria is supposedly supposed to be off the South Pacific. It's part of the Hawaiian
Okay.
island chains. The tips of the mountains are the old remnants of Lemuria. So at least that's what they claim out there. One day, hopefully, we'll know. Um,
Are there any questions in the box? Because I want to talk about the twin flames in a minute as well,
Yeah,
about a
I'm
little bit.
looking if we had any questions. I know Richard's made some comments. He said that you hide your horns well, Liliana. I think that's what he was referring to. Um, Richard did ask, and I want to I want to feed off of your story, and we'll get back to Richard's question on
Okay.
colors there, and then he's got another one. So we'll get back to that here in a second. I was going to feed right into what you were talking about because it lined up perfectly. I was going to discuss one of my past lives that
Please
I
do,
was
please.
told, and it had to do with fishing. and boats.
Oh,
So I think
wow.
it was divinely fed right there. So I've only like during a meditation, I've gone back and seen a past life, which I think was a past life once before, and I can talk about that one. But the only two that I'm aware of is when I went to psychics, to mediums, and I've had two past life readings from two separate people on two different occasions that knew absolutely nothing about me. And it was so
Uh-huh.
freaky. I mean, it was so cool, but I mean, it was like, that's insane that they could know that about me. And the for those that don't know, my dream, and I've had this dream for, I don't know, 20 some 30 years, is to one day have a big yacht. I want to be on a boat. Water has always been something that's drawn me to it. I've always wanted to be out on a boat on the water. And I didn't tell this to any of these people, and both of them right off the bat were basically asking me, you're drawn to water. I don't know what it is. They're saying, I see a boat. I see lots of boats. I see, and she keeps going down this path, and says, you've been a captain in many, many past lives. And the idea is, for whatever reason, I've always been drawn to boats. And I've been a seaboat captain on ships, on yachts, on little fishing boats, but I've always been, for many, many lives, as a
Listen.
captain and on boats. And she said this one specific time, it was in the Civil War era in the United States, and I was a plantation owner. I was a slave owner, she said, but I was really well liked. I was a fair man, but I ran like a mussel ship, to where we went out with nets and we were collecting mussels or whatever. And she said that I was a very powerful magician and sorcerer in
Wow.
all of these past lives, that I was very wealthy, and that I could always create my reality. I was looked upon as somebody that was able to perform these types of ceremonies. I wouldn't say
Wow.
magic. Maybe back then they thought it was magic, but I was very powerful. And as she's walking through, she's thought, oh man, she thought I got killed by my workers, and that I drowned in a fishing net. And then as she kept reading and seeing, she said, oh wait, no, they saved you. You were okay. Everything was fine, but you did die. And it was during a fire. Apparently, my workers set fire to my plantation home, and they burned me down in it. So apparently I'd done something, you know, uh, inappropriate that got me burned up alive. But so that was just the idea of fishing and boats, and my dream of wanting a yacht that's always been there. And my wife, April's like,
Ah,
where
that's
did
why.
that come from? And to
Captain.
never say
Okay.
anything about it. And she's telling me exactly all of these things. It's like, that makes so much
Wow.
sense. I've tried
It does make sense.
researching and finding if I could find some old ship captain, from the 1800s that died in a house plantation fire. And if anybody wants to do some research, go for it. I don't have the time to get deep into it, but
that,
it was
that's a
pretty
task.
neat, to say the least. And then the other specific one that a different one told me about was back in the early, like, 700, the Roman era, basically,
Uh-huh.
uh, back a couple thousand years ago. And I was apparently a deaf mute and physically disabled. And my grandfather, and this relates to soulmates, or
Oh,
twin flame, even. My grandfather took me out because I was ridiculed, I was abused, I was looked down upon in the city. So he took me out on a peninsula, and we lived off the Mediterranean on the shore, and we just lived off fish and vegetation and just lived a great happy life. Just him and I, and he sacrificed everything to go take care of me. And
no.
he unfortunately died of old age, I was told, and thus I
Oh,
ended
God.
up dying because he died. I died a horrible death. of dehydration and starvation because I was incapable of providing for myself. But she said that I was so back then, even though I was deaf, mute, physically disabled, I was so wise and almost had that magical ability even back then, um, as a sorcerer or whatever, but I was just shunned from society. And the person, my grandfather, that took me out uh, to live with me, to take care of me, I think that was actually my grandmother in this life, that
Wow.
she has always been there as either my twin flame or as my soulmate, one of them. And she's always protected me. She's always been there to watch over me. She comes to me, about once a year at least in my meditations, and talks to me and lets me know that things are going right. I'm on the right path, keep pushing forward. Everything's going to be all right. And every once in a while she'll show up. But I have this strong feeling as if she was that grandfather in that past life so many, 2000 years ago, that was there,
Wow.
do anything for me to keep me alive, and I've done a lot of meditation on that specific, on those lives, and I've really thought about, what lessons did I learn from that life? And how
What
can
is
I
your
love
legacy?
that
Yeah.
version of me? And how can I have compassion for that version of me? That boy didn't starve, that man didn't starve and die of dehydration in vain, letting him
We
know
have
that I
left.
love him and I
Yeah.
forgive him, and he didn't die in vain. And that's really, I think, the purpose of those past lives, is to
It
go
is.
back
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
them and to forgive ourselves, because every time we die in a past life, we feel like we failed potentially, like we've
Yeah.
let everybody down, we've let myself
Yeah.
down. And it's when we can go back and heal and tell ourselves, no, you did exactly what you were supposed to do.
Just to
That
do.
lesson was learned. Now I
Uh-huh.
can move forward and be even more successful, even a better creator, thanks to you having to suffer in that way. That's the way I look at past lives, I guess. But uh
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I don't know if there's any questions there, but I agree because if you guys that are watching and want to learn about twin flames, please go on Miriam's a channel, YouTube channel, because everybody knows Miriam. She's my best friend. We met through the journey as well, and she's got a lot of videos on that on twin flame journey. And what Joey said is so true because when we come to reincarnate and decide to take different roles, remember our rules are going to be always different according to our needs because we are here to perfect ourselves. Okay, we don't want to talk about too much about us, but we end up talking about us instead of teaching you guys. But I think by talking about us, you learn the journey yourselves. So what this means is each journey is a journey of learning because this is a school of learning, right? And this is the lowest density where we have to go through all the hardships, all the sorrows, all the difficulties, so we can improve ourselves and to become better uh, every time as we ascend. So at the moment we say, but I didn't ascend to anywhere. I keep coming back to the bloody 3D. But it's because the cycle, karmatic cycle, only ended last year in December. So from now on, we're going to be able to remember more and more of what we're supposed to be doing all these past lives, all of them, and what our cycles been. Because now this is a crucial time where the world, this is new cycle of cosmic cycle of new ways of being. From December onwards, nothing is going to be the same again, and we can see from globally, everybody's waking up to a new reality of, they call it the spiritual awakening. It's not like we are waking on everything. We just are remembering more and more than what we have been suppressed all these years. So basically, what we're doing here is to perfect ourselves and learn that we no longer have all this density, all this karma attached to us anymore, and we come with a lighter purpose. Let's say instead of we coming to fulfill punishments now, this era is gonna end. We are going to fulfill teachings, not punishments anymore. The punishments are gone now. Everything we've been through thousands and thousands of years ago, they're all gone and finished and done with. Now, the ones who remember who they are, they're gonna come back, maybe reincarnate. Some of us don't want to reincarnate anymore, but the ones who do, we're going to be coming. teachers of the new era because the old one is gone, is past, is no longer. So with that means that some of us are going to come back with more and more and more and more knowledge about the cosmic lives. And one of the proof that is I have a dream, this was vivid again, about the COVID children. These COVID children, they're going to come to us with so many gifts, so many gifts, so many gifts. They're going to touch us and we're not going to be able to use doctors because these children are healers. Medicine is not going to be part of the 3D anymore for the ones that are ascending. Okay, ascending is a state; it's not a place. So as we ascend, we go through the states of consciousness, which are advanced states of consciousness. So one of these things that we need the twin flames is because we have to, as Joey said, the twin flame brings some of them brings the part of us that we need to learn, and some of them bring the part that we need to heal. So some of the twin flames, for example, I came and I know this 100% because I know I didn't come. I came um, to perform a role in these men lives that I had. All these men that I had, I didn't have many, by the way. I talk like I have hundreds. I was married twice in this planet. But I met a boyfriend and I have now met somebody else. And every single time, I know I came to heal them, to help them, to teach them, and to play a fundamental role in their lives. We don't have to take this when we remember. It's up to us if we want to take this role or not. Okay? I decided I want to take this role because there are people that contracted with me. They want a salvation. They said, I can only do this with your help. Would you come down with me and help me to achieve this? And I said, yes. That's why I don't go. A lot of women say, oh, I want to awaken man. What is that awakened man? Eventually, everybody's going to be awake anyway. So if you take humans as not awakened humans, what we doing here? We're not supposed to do our job. If you have a non-awakened man that is loving and caring and he knows 100% you're going to be happy with, why not? Why not? Because remember, it's about what you've chosen. And I think I met another guy. I'm truly in love. And
Yay.
whether it's gonna whether it's gonna work or not, I know my purpose here. Again, it's all about remembrance. So if you want to add anything, please do,
No,
because we are right.
only thing I'd add is, the comment that we chose to come back here, and I'm thinking, why the hell would we choose to come back here? This is
I don't
hard.
know.
It's we
Yeah,
are some spiritual badasses. We are some old
yeah,
souls. Those of us watching this
yeah,
show for sure.
yeah,
We're
sure.
here because we understand the importance of it, and that we chose to come back here for this very purpose to endure and overcome
True.
all of what we're dealing with now. So absolutely. Um, Richard asked, does your soul have colors? What do you think, Liliana?
I think the soul only has light because when I remember, I talk about this on my Dark Night of the Soul, my episode 2, Richard. When I went through the dark night of the soul, I grieved so much that it was like I buried my own body and I was going through an extremely painful death. And one day I said, that's it, I cannot shut myself in the bedroom and pretend that the world doesn't exist because I don't really want to be around in the world. When I understood that there was only light and love, that was a trigger for me. I think, and I know for sure, when you close your eyes, what do you see? I see just light. I see waves, colors. If the souls have colors, maybe, because maybe that's the waves we see on the meditation. But I want to believe our soul has the color of the sun, the light, just bright, either white or yellow, which is the one that shines through us. But again, this is what I see.
Right. I think I agree with that. I think our specific soul is light and it just shines
I
bright.
completely.
But people talk about seeing auras and different colors, and then all of our
All of this
chakras
different.
are different
Yeah,
colored,
yeah.
and they're different colored for a reason, I think, because that's the frequency, that color frequency on the spectrum. That's
Mhm.
why they resonate. That's why certain people have a purple or a turquoise or a green or a yellow or a red. I think
Mhm.
that's really the frequency we're resonating at, based on what level of chakra we're living in, what part. If we're living in the heart chakra, if we're truly embracing it, then our aura would be green. If we're stuck, rooted to earth, and we can't get out of this 3D sludge, perhaps our aura is more red. I don't know. I don't think that's our soul, though. I think you're absolutely right. I think our
No,
soul
it's the
is
aura.
bright, divine light. And then what we project out, what we
Like,
vibrate at, possibly is the color that we
correct.
project,
Yeah,
that we
I
resonate
think
at.
so.
So
I'm not sure,
let's
but
we've got Richard had another good question I wanted to ask. I wanted to read, I guess. How do you regain control when something makes you really angry?
oh, okay. Richard, to answer this question, you must now watch The Dark Knight of the Soul because I was very angry. I was very angry. When you understand what I've gone through and why, then you understand the rest. It saves you a lot of time. I know you have time to watch it. Go and watch this because anger comes from versions of us that we don't like on other people. And I know your story, Richard, and I don't want to wash your clothes here live. This is a Portuguese term. Um, you must go back and see why you are angry, because it will come to surface the why. It came to me on my Dark Night of the Soul, if that makes sense. Go and watch the episode 2 that I've shared, that Joey shared yesterday, and I shared to my feed as well. And you understand why you are angry and how you're going to get out of this anger. This is only one way, Richard. Forgive yourself and forgive the ones that wronged you. Then you will understand you are creating this monster inside of you. This monster makes you angry. That was me. Watch that episode. That teach you a lot. And going back to your other question about the auras, I think now, the time that we are now, there are so many new children that are coming to teach us everything that we don't know. These children came with a deeper knowledge about everything that we still question. Okay? Because these children came with a remembrance, with a veil, it's lighter for them. They're kind of between the two worlds right now. These children, I've seen a lot of kids recently speaking to other people, and the parents go, they're crazy. They talk to them. I said, no, they're not crazy. They are talking to people, and these people are real, and they are around them, and they are being guided and instructed. So whatever they say, take it as a note and follow it because your child came to teach you. You're not the teacher no longer. We are not the teachers no longer. The children, they're going to be our teachers for our generation. And this is, I know, 100% true.
Very well said. I'll add to it, Richard. The idea that we get angry, that's really just what's triggering us, is what we're still having trouble overcoming. We're still having trouble learning that
Exactly.
lesson. For me, I
Yeah.
have two specific triggers that I'll share with you. Uh, the first one is censorship. What is it about being told what I can and can't say that upsets me so much, that frustrates me so much? That's a huge trigger that I have to dive
Wow.
into, and I have to kind of walk down that path and analyze it really. Why do I get so triggered when somebody tries to keep me from speaking what I feel is my truth? I think we're all entitled to that.
Yeah.
That's a whole different
Yeah.
subject, but just for instance, the recognition of the trigger is what's important. The other trigger that
Yeah.
still gets me, and I'm working on it every day, getting a little better, but it's between my wife and I. And
Ah,
and it's, it has to do with the same thing though. When I feel I'm not being heard or listened to, it triggers me, and it causes me to
right.
raise my voice, to speak louder, as if that's going to help her hear me
It's
better,
not,
right? The
it's not
second
gonna
she doesn't
help.
want to hear me, she turns it off, regardless of what level I'm at. But the idea is, what is it about not allowing my voice to be heard? So
Your
both
mirrors.
those
You just
triggers are
mirror.
the same exact trigger that I just
Yeah.
discovered through talking it out with you guys. But the idea is,
Yeah.
whatever makes us angry, we have to be in that present moment. We have to be aware that it is triggering us. And the only way we can heal is to go back, forgive ourselves for believing that that was a trigger, that that was something to be triggered over in the first place. You know, that compassion we need to have for ourselves, because we're just learning this lesson, and it's there for us to learn. It's not there for us to beat ourselves up over. It's there for us to be humble and compassionate and love yourself and be like, oh, that's why it's there. When we can no longer be triggered by things and no longer get angry by things, it loses all of its power. And then we can allow our energy to focus on something more meaningful, something related to love versus something related to backpedaling, something related to third density drudgery that's keeping us there. So,
And and while we live, because I know your trigger, the first one you said, I'm gonna give an advice right here, right now, live. You must not give attention to that because your attention goes that way all the time because the universe knows that specific thing triggers you and you keep giving feed to it. The moment you stop giving feed to it, like I did with the vaccine, and I did it with the vaccine, I was constantly telling people, do not vaccinate, blah, blah, blah. The moment I stop and say, hold on a minute, who cares who has the vaccine? Everybody has a different path than myself. So we
real
have,
quick, you're not allowed to say that word. That'll
oh,
get us
because
taken off. I'm going to have to edit that out. So in future reference, we cannot say the V word.
that's fine, but that's gone now. Nobody's looking at that anymore. But I said, I understand, I respect you. Once I gave my attention out of it, that's it. Never again I was triggered by it. That's it.
Yep, absolutely. We have to let those go. And Richard, as we finish up here, he did say he gets angry when someone doesn't do their job properly. Totally relate with you, Richard. My wife hates it, frustrates her so much because that's what triggers me more than anything, I bet, is incompetence. It's like and it's not even people. It's when my computer won't work properly. It's like you have one job to do. The printer has one job to do. Print when I hit the button, and when it doesn't work, I used to get really upset. I think my wife would agree. I have taken it from 100% trigger level down to at least maybe 30% when it comes to electronics, but it's still there. So it's, why do we get frustrated and triggered by things not working correctly? My theory is because we're frustrated in the fact that we still haven't learned the ability to control our reality the way we want to control it. So we get frustrated. It's like, why would I create, if I'm creating all of this, why am I creating a printer malfunction? And it's kind of, where's our attention going? Honestly, why am I creating that if we're creating it all? And that's the real question. Question everything. Why is that happening? Why is it doing that to me? And in turn, perhaps we learn the lesson and we can move past it, like Liliana said to do. So, any last words? We're at the end of the hour here.
Thank you so much. I hope you guys are enjoying our talking here. And if you don't know, maybe you've been our soulmates, all of you. You've been trying to remember where we met and come back and tell us more about it.
Please do. Yes, that's a great idea.
Love you.
Well, thank you all for tuning in today. Those that tuned in live, those of you that asked questions, commented, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you're watching and subscribe to the Reality Practice Network on YouTube, on Rumble. You can follow all the latest episodes on the Facebook page, the Reality Practice Network. On the YouTube channel, it's Reality Practice. We got new episodes coming out each week. Liliana's second episode just premiered yesterday. It was amazing, going over the dark night of the soul. I think we've got Owen Hunt's Blue Collar Mystic is coming out this afternoon. We've got Reality Practice podcast airing tomorrow with our friend Steve Pierce. I interviewed
Oh
Steve
wow,
last
Steve!
week, and he has such a phenomenal story and goes through his
I
whole
can't wait.
process of awakening and how it happened to him. And
Can't wait.
it's really phenomenal. So definitely tune in. Rest of the week, we've got more of your favorites, from Carrie Cudmore to Marty Spence and Riley June. We've got a new one coming on, Stacy Van Thune. She'll be premiering her new show this Friday. So tune in, get subscribed. Anyways,
Thank you
thank you
guys.
so much for watching today.
Thank
Liliana and I
you. We
both
love you.
love you guys, and we
We love
appreciate
you.
everything you do and your support. So we will see you again next week. Until next time, stay blessed, and remember to always ask yourself, what reality are you choosing to create today? I know.
Bye, Joe. Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you,
Liliana.
guys. Bye.